All right. Well, welcome everybody. This is Stephen Michael Miller. If you're looking online, you don't see me yet. And that's on purpose. Because I'm out of breath. Oh, all right. Just running around and making things happen. Welcome everybody. So glad that you're here. We've got some people here in the room as well. Got you here online. I'm so glad that you're here. And I'm still out of breath because I just ran in here. Make sure I wanted to start on time. But I'm really excited that you're here. And I'm ready to get into some different things today, but before I do, I want to ask some questions. I want to make sure that we're all kind of tuned in here. You let me know when the PowerPoint's up and ready, and that'd be great. I want you to ask yourself a couple questions, and I'm obviously people in the room are going to see me looking at the camera a lot, like, what is this guy looking at? But I am looking at a camera here, so got people all around the nation tuning in. But I want you to ask yourself some questions. First of all, what is it that you want to achieve and accomplish? And more specifically, what are your goals? What are some of your dreams? We're going to get into that in a little bit, but I want you to get clear on what it is that you want to accomplish. And then I want you to ask yourself, why haven't I accomplished it yet? If I've got certain dreams and certain goals and certain things that I want to do, why haven't I accomplished it yet? This is the right one. Can we go to the first slide, though? There we go. Or we can start at slide 52. I mean, either way, that works too. All right, perfect. Oh, that's an interesting. All right, cool. Is this on? You're good. Okay. We're figuring out the slides here. We'll get them there. So I want to take you on a quick journey, and then we'll really jump in. So thinking about your goals and what it is that you want to accomplish, I want to talk about the system that we have right now. And I hope that as we get into this conversation, you can agree with me that the system is broken, that we're a part of. And when I'm talking about the system, I'm talking about the financial system. I'm talking about how we're taught as children. And this is not a slight on our parents or their parents or whoever, right? I know that you're a father, right? Correct? Okay, good. I'm a father as well, 7 children. Good, awesome. The reality is we just because we become fathers doesn't mean that all of a sudden we know everything. Just because we become parents doesn't mean that all of a sudden we're perfect parents, right? It's a learning and growth process. But we're told, or we're made to feel like we should all of a sudden know it all because now we are that, correct? Like because we're an adult, we should have it all figured out and know how to financially succeed. Well, we're not taught that, right? So how do we all of a sudden get that information? And you know, the reality for most of us is we are taught certain things from a very young age. Starting off as a young little boy, I remember watching my parents and just watching them struggle. And that was my education, right? My education was watching them struggle. School didn't teach me how to become financially independent. No teacher came to me and said, hey, why don't you meet with me after school and I'll show you how to invest your money wisely, right? No one came up to me and said that. So there's certain things that because the system isn't built to support that kind of line of thought, we have to figure it out on our own by either trial and error or by getting someone in our lives, a mentor or a coach to help us and teach us so that we can accelerate a process. So we're all taught to do certain things. And as a kid, I remember I wasn't even really taught to go to college because my parents couldn't afford it. So we never had the conversation of go to college, which I know for a lot of you here that are watching, you've had that conversation. Your parents had that with you. You were pushed to go get scholarships or whatever else, whatever might have been the case. But as a kid, I wasn't even taught that. I wasn't even told to go to college because my parents had no idea how they could pay for it. And so because they didn't know, we didn't get taught. But let's just say the normal person, right? I'll say I'm abnormal. The normal person is taught you need to go to college because why? Why do we go to college? Well, I think there's a number of different reasons. We go to college so we can get a good education. We're told that a good education will get us a better job, right? So we go to college, and by the time we're a sophomore, we've changed our major 14 times, right? 12, yeah, whatever, right? We've changed our major because we don't really know what we want yet, so we're wasting time learning stuff that honestly isn't going to help us. I mean, and I don't know if you're like me, but I remember sitting in class in elementary school even, and high school and college, because I did go to college and I did graduate, and I'm not saying education's wrong or bad. It's great. But I remember sitting in class and thinking to myself, I know way more than my teacher does. Like even as a young kid, I remember thinking that because I had experienced life. I grew up in a very, very poor family. My, so poor, in fact, I know poor is relative for everyone, but I grew up in a situation where we often didn't have food. We didn't have money to put food on the table. So instead of, going out and buying groceries, we'd go out and dumpster dive. When I was 7 years old, my father took me for the first time to learn the family trade, which was dumpster diving. And so we got lots of meals from dumpsters. And I don't want to paint a false picture. I didn't eat rotten food, right? But this was food that stores or grocery stores would throw away. And sometimes, because of it being expired or whatever the case was, and we would get it and clean it off. And as you know, just because it says it's expired doesn't mean it's bad, right? But anyway, so we got a lot of food from dumpsters, and that's often how we ate. Now I tell you this because that was my reality, and I know that there's a lot of people that although they may not experience that level of poverty, the reality is we're all struggling at some level or another because we don't know. So we go to school, we get our education, hopefully we get our degree, and that we get that piece of paper that tells us what? What does it tell us?
You did it.
Yeah, you did it, right? You're smart. So we're reliant on this piece of paper to tell us that we're smart and to tell us that we can now ask for maybe a little bit more pay rather than coming in entry level. We can now come in at a mid-entry level position or something like that, right? So we spend thousands of dollars to get this piece of paper to tell us that we're smart, but what we're really told is now you have a whole lot of debt that you may never pay off, or you're going to spend the majority of your life now trying to pay off. And we do that so we can get a little more. So we get in the workplace, right? We graduate, we get in the workplace, and what's the goal for the workplace? Well, it may be a number of different things. I think one of the goals is to move in the corporate ladder, right? Move up and start here, but end up somewhere up here in management or at an executive level of some sort. That's the goal. Majority of people don't, right? Majority of people just kind of end up sticking where they are, and they'll get raises here and there, but those raises typically won't beat out inflation, and so cost of living is going up, but their ability to keep up with that cost of living isn't increasing. And we find ourselves in situations where we're spending 110, 120% of what we're earning. And by way of, home equity lines of credit or credit cards or tapping into our 401ks or whatever the case is. And so the goal with all of this in the beginning and why we're kind of following along this path that everyone else is following along is, we're kind of just doing what they're doing, what we see our parents do. And for most of us, I think we have something in the back of our mind, it's maybe even at the subconscious level, that we want to achieve retirement. Whatever that word means, right? We want to achieve some sort of retirement, and it's different for everybody. For some people, retirement means travel. For some people, it means just spending more time with their family. For some people, it means really having the wherewithal to be able to pursue their hobby, whatever that might be, So retirement has a lot of different definitions, and whatever yours may be, by the time you get to retirement, 97, 98% of us are going to find that it looks completely different than what we wanted it to look like because we follow the same exact system. So if the system is leading 97% of us to a retirement that we don't want and don't like, then can we agree that the system's broken, right? So the system's broken, so we need to do something different. And I want to today to talk about really what we're doing and how we are, how we're doing things differently, how we're providing a different system for people, and how we have solutions for anybody, regardless of whether you are just starting out in life or you can see the light at the end of the tunnel, right? Either way, we've got solutions that we can provide, and whether you're someone who wants to do it all yourself or someone that values what a team can provide for you, we've got options and solutions for everything in between. So I want to get into this a little bit here. Our mission at our company is to empower personal and financial success. And I want to start, first of all, with how we empower personal success, because I believe that in order to really affect your pocketbook, you've got to enhance your thinking. You've got to do things differently. We say all the time, the most valuable piece of real estate is the real estate in between your ears, right? And you've heard that in other places. And it's so true. I have seen so many times people that honestly have done okay for themselves financially, when they come to us, oftentimes are broken up here. So before we can really help them to create a massive portfolio in real estate, we have to help them clear up some of those limiting beliefs, clear up some of those thought processes and patterns that are blocking them from getting what it is that they truly want. So that's why we put that there. So I want to talk about a few things. First of all, are my decisions working for or against me? Okay, I want you to think about these things. Are your decisions working for or against you? What is your retirement number? Be thinking about this. What do you need on a monthly basis to be able to retire? What is that retirement number for you? Who is in control of your financial destiny? Is it the system? Are you just kind of playing victim role here? Or are you in control? And if not yet, what can you do to gain control? We're going to talk about that. And then number 4, am I taking full advantage of my freedom to create my dream life? Again, at the very beginning, we talked about those goals, those aspirations, those dreams, and I want you to get very, very clear, okay? Now, I put this up here because it's something that I think most people at one point or another have thought about, right? The American dream. We're here in America, unless you're viewing this online in Singapore, right? But the rest of us, we're here in America, and we talk about this American dream often as to, we know that America is this land of freedom. It's a place where we can create our dreams and we can actually achieve them. But personally, I don't even like the term American dream. I'll tell you why. Because I think for most people, it stays in that dream phase, right? I want to help you understand how you can take these dreams and actually move them into a space of reality. Actually create a plan that can get you from where you are right now, wherever you are in this timeline, it doesn't matter, but it can take you from where you might be right now and help you understand the steps that you need to take to get to where you actually want to be. So that retirement doesn't look like this crazy thing that you never wanted, but it actually is more similar to what you wanted to accomplish in the beginning. Okay, so we're going to talk about that. But let's talk about the financial outlook for the average American. We know that few workers are truly confident with what they're going to have for retirement, right? They're not going to be comfortable. Well, let's talk about the past first of all. We know that back in the day we used to say, oh, if I can just get to $1 million, right? If I could just have $1 million in the bank, I'd be good for the rest of my life. Well, it's not true anymore. $1 million today isn't what $1 million was 30 years ago or even 10 years ago, right? So it's not going to be enough. $1 million is not going to be enough. And let's look at what people are doing right now. I know that for a fact, 60% of people have less than $25,000 saved, right? We were talking about the system and how we're going on and life happens. We go to school, we go to college. For me, I've got 7 kids and they happen very fast. So what comes along with 7 kids? Well, I need more space to live in and I need a car that can carry them all. And I used to drive a small car, a little Toyota, and now I drive a 15-passenger van, right? So there's cost difference there, right? And you've got to be able to keep up and handle that kind of stuff. So if you're not doing the right things, life is just going to suck it all away. And we see that that's happening for most of us. And I would say that other 40%, they may have a little bit more, but it's still not enough. I mean, if you think about it, if you're used to, living on, let's just call it $45,000 a year. If you're used to living on $45,000 a year and you even have $1 million saved up, how long is that going to last you? Well, 20 years? Most people are living 30 plus years past retirement. So is that going to be enough? And that's considering that's taking into consideration that, that's not taking into consideration things like medical bills and expenses going up as you get older, right? That just happens, right? Because we're not, our bodies aren't perfected yet, unfortunately. So we have things we have to deal with here, right? So medical costs going up, travel expenses to go see your kids who aren't living with you and all that kind of stuff, right? It all starts to multiply and add up. So it's just not going to be enough for us. Well, we also know that Social Security, by the way, first of all, we don't know if Social Security is going to be around tomorrow, do we? And I say tomorrow, but in the future, right? We don't know how long it's going to last. Conversations are being had daily about Social Security and about how it's running out and we're not funded appropriately and we don't even know if we're going to have enough over the next 5, 10, 15 years, right? So at the end of the day, right now we know that 33% of Americans get 90% of their income at retirement from Social Security. And a life on Social Security isn't even a good one. It's not one where we can actually do anything. It's kind of just sustaining life, right? The average person earns about $1,000 on Social Security a month. $1,000. That's not enough. I mean, my food bill is larger than that a month for my family, right? So how can we do things differently and supplement things so that we can actually bridge that gap? So we aren't in this pool of the average American. How do we bridge that gap? Well, I want to talk about this just a little bit, and I want you to think: are your decisions right now bankrupting your retirement? Is what we're doing right now getting us in a position where where all of a sudden that future that we wanted is getting fuzzy and hazy, right? Let's talk about that. Because the reality for a lot of us in retirement is we ended up kind of like this gentleman here, right? The harsh truth for a lot of retirees is they recognize too late that they don't have enough. They recognize too late that what they saved, and even if they have a decent little nest egg, it's not going to carry them through what they need. And so what do? Well, they have to go back to work to supplement what it is that they did. They can't go back to their old job, right? We know that, right? Once you left your job and you've retired, you can't just go back and ask for it again. It's gone. It's been given to someone else younger and smarter than you, whatever the case is. And so we have to go back to work. And often like this guy, we go back to work at Walmart, Target, other massive retail chains, just to make ends meet, because we've got that limited income, we've got the no cash flow, reduced quality of life, anger and frustration, missed opportunities. So we need to do things differently so this doesn't happen to us. So I want to talk about developing the mind here, inspiring your decisions. Have you ever wondered how many mistakes I could have avoided by having someone to ask advice? If you had someone that was in your corner that was telling you, hey, oh, by the way, don't do that, because that's going to lose you $100,000, so you don't want to do that, right? Come over here and do this, that. If we had someone to go to like that, how valuable would that be? Huge, right? Hugely valuable. I want to talk about a specific example here. Before I do, I want to talk about traits of a mentor or someone like that. Oftentimes these are inspirational individuals. They enable opportunities, they teach humility, they help others cope and progress. Sometimes they improve social status, or these are often masters of success in their specific areas, right? I want to talk about one person individual specifically that you've probably heard of. Who is that? Michael Jordan, right? It's up there if you don't know who Michael Jordan is. Maybe some of you younger generation, if you're watching this right now. Michael Jordan is said to be the best basketball player of all time, or at least one of the best basketball players ever. And Michael Jordan, you can see right here in the top right hand of the slide, Nike endorsements equaling about $80 million a year. Okay, the dude makes money, right? He cashes in. Okay, net worth of about $1 billion. So again. And Michael Jordan played for the Bulls and some other teams as well. I'm not a huge basketball fan, so don't quiz me on Michael Jordan. I just know that he knows how to make money. And I also know that he was amazing at the game of basketball. But what a lot of people probably don't really know is where he accredits what he did, what he was able to do, right? Who he actually credits with helping him to get to where he is right now. And so I want to put this up. He says, other than my parents, no one had a bigger influence on my life than Coach Smith. He was more than a coach. He was my mentor, my teacher, my second father. Coach was always there for me whenever I needed him, and I loved him for it. In teaching me the game of basketball, he taught me about life. So here's Michael Jordan, net worth of $1 billion, has this $80 million per year contract, according to Forbes magazine. And he says that he is where he is because of his coach. And specifically Coach Smith, right? Coach Smith was Dean Smith died in February of this year, and he was his coach in his college years, right? And so it's interesting to look at this. A lot of people would look at Michael Jordan and say, oh, he was just super talented and he just worked it out and he just knew what to do. But the reality, according to him, is he got to where he is because he had a coach that helped him, that could tweak little things for him in his life, that improved his game, that improved his life so that he could have even greater success, okay? So it's all about that coach. So how do we manifest this level of success for ourselves? Well, mentors. We need to have mentors in our lives. So what if you committed to 30 minutes of personal growth each day from some of the world's top mentors to transform your life, both personally and financially? What would that do for you? Right? If we could tap into people like Michael Jordan had access to every single day of our lives, how would that improve what it is that we're doing? How would that change our path and trajectory? Would that take us from where we are now and get us closer to where it is that we want to end up? I would argue definitely. And so what I want to do is I want to actually introduce you to something that we've been doing now for this year. Actually, we started at the beginning of this year, which is the Mentoring Network. And this is actually a gift that I'm going to give to everyone for free. These are some of the biggest names in personal development. People like Les Brown, Dan Clark, Kevin Harrington, and many, many, many others who have given their expertise to the what's that? Oh yeah, some of the names up there. There's an amazing one right there. You know? That's right. Right? But these are mentors who have been there and done that and can help us to accelerate our process. I want to show you what this looks like. We literally have hundreds of mentors, over $250,000 of coaching available on this app. And you can access it from your iPhone, your Android phone, your iPad or tablet, desktop computer, whatever. It's very, very simple. I'll show you exactly how it's done. But first, I want to show you this is a community of mentors, right? And for some of you that have expertise in certain areas, you could even be a mentor too. We can show you how to do that. We're not going to talk about it here, but we can show you how to do that as well. But the mentoring network is really powerful. You can search by topic, whether it's business or fitness or mindset, everything from health and nutrition to social leadership, sales and marketing and relationships and everything in between. You can search by topic. You can also search by mentors if you know the specific mentor that you want to learn from. You can search by course. And the neat thing about this is, like I said before, it is totally free. And I'll tell you, if you're starting to improve your mindset, things start to fall into place, right? You start to act differently. You do different things. You think different. And that starts this trickle-down effect where all of a sudden you start to have more and more success. And the more success that you have, I have found the more you want to share that with other people. So we've made it very simple. You download the app, you share it for free, right? You download and install it yourself, and then you start learning. It's really just that easy. 24/7, it's always there, it's always available. A couple things I want to point out, I'm going to skip past that. A couple things I just want to point out here is when you get on, there's a little starting video that you'll want to do that kind of takes you through a tutorial so you know how to use it and to the biggest benefit. Every single day we release a mentor moment. Every single weekday we release a mentor moment, which are fantastic, just little 2-minute videos from each of our mentors that help to just empower your day and give you that boost that you might need. Once a week we come out with Strongbrook Radio, which is a longer, 30 to 45 minute radio interview with these mentors, really just kind of getting down to the nitty gritties of who they are, what problem it was that they had and how they overcame that, and now they're out teaching everybody else, right, what they were able to do. We've got notifications, we've got premium access, you can share it on social media, we have live events that you can access. As a matter of fact, this event right now, if you do have the app, you may be watching it from your app. We have a little live events tab that you can actually stream it live right now on your app. So it's an amazing little tool here. And of course, like I said before, you can share it with anybody for free. And it's a wonderful gift. And I would recommend, it's a wonderful gift. We're in the holiday season right now, whether it's for, Christmas or Kwanzaa or Hanukkah or whatever else you may be celebrating. This is an amazing gift to give somebody. It is completely free. And there's options for them if they want to down the road. If they want to upgrade and pay some money to get a premium service, they can. But they don't ever have to. So I recommend anybody that's on right now, if you don't already have this, download the app and start utilizing it today, because you've got to figure out the mental space here, right? The real estate between your ears before you can really start to grow your portfolio. So get on today. You can search it on the Apple Store or Google Play. Search for Strongbrook. Create your free account. You'll need your invite code. So if you don't have your invite code right now, go back to the person that invited you here today, and they'll be able to give you that invite code so you can get access. And then just start listening every day, 30 minutes a day, and share it with other people as well. Okay? It says the same thing. So we've discussed a few things. We've discussed kind of the situation of the majority of us, right? We're following this system that's broken, so we've got to do something different. In order to do something different, first of all, we've got to work with our mentality, right? We've got to change things here. Once we've changed things here, I want to talk now about the real estate aspect of what we're here to learn about anyway, right? I want to get into the nuts and bolts of how do we create an amazing portfolio with what we call facilitated real estate. Now, that's kind of an interesting word, right? What does that mean? Well, just what it says is it's real estate that you're not doing on your own. I'm not expecting you to be the end-all be-all or the guru, right? I think where a lot of people make a mistake, and I'm just talking from experience. I worked in a company years ago where we sold real estate education. And education is phenomenal if you implement it, correct? If you actually utilize it. And what I learned in working with that company is that a lot of people didn't utilize that education, and then they'd get a bad taste in their mouth because those companies didn't offer a next step. Right? So they would get a bad taste in their mouth for the education. Well, let me be the first to tell you, education is amazing if you implement it, or if you're not planning on it, if there's a stepping stone to another way where you can find out how to use it, correct? So we created this program to really just do the majority of the work for you, to get you out of your own way, let you do what you do best, and let us do what we do best. We have a saying in our company that goes like this: if you want something done right, don't do it yourself, right? Most people would say if you want something done right, do it yourself, because we live in this kind of DIY society. Go turn on HGTV or Discovery or any of those channels, right? And it's all about do it yourself. And the reality is if, let me just paint a quick scenario. If all of a sudden my appendix burst, okay, let me knock on some wood here. There's a chair over here. Okay, there's a door, that's right. So if my appendix were to burst right now, I have some options, okay? Option number one, I can do it myself, right? I got this wonderful little thing right here, it's called an iPhone, and I can go onto YouTube, and I can pull up a video, and I can guarantee it's probably a couple hours long or something like that, or maybe an hour. But I can go on there and I can Google or YouTube appendix surgery. And I can, well, exactly, emergency appendectomy. There we go. So I click on that. I grab my scalpel that I carry in my backpack. Whatever. Let's just say I had a scalpel, right? And I could sit there and watch it, and I could operate on myself, right? With my camera, yeah, that's right. So I can see what I'm doing here, right? And I'm watching the show at the same time, right? I could operate on myself, but what's the likelihood that I'm going to come out of that alive? Not very likely. I'll probably pass out, because honestly, when I give blood, I pass out anyway, right? So this is even worse. So rather than passing out, instead of doing it myself, what would I probably do? I probably have one of you guys call 911. Yeah. I'll get Ryan to operate on me instead. No, but what I would probably do is I would call 911, because why? Because they're professionals. They've done it thousands of times. They've performed this surgery over and over and over again, and they know how to do it, and they know what not to do. They know what to cut and what not to cut, right? And they know how to sew it up and make me better, right? So that's even more important. Yeah, that's right. The cutting part's not the hard part. It's the sewing back and making sure that you're okay afterwards. So I would go to an expert. Well, here's the reality. We put our financial lives on the operating table almost daily. And we think that because we're adults, or because we have money, or because whatever, that we can do it ourselves. And I can't tell you how many people operate and then kill themselves over and over and over again on the operating table. So is there a better way? I definitely believe yes, and this is why we've come up with this facilitated real estate program. So I want to get into it here. Financial freedom. What's the definition of financial freedom? Just think about it for yourself. You don't need to call it out or anything, but what is financial freedom for you? And I want to give you a very simple definition, okay? Financial freedom is very simply residual income exceeding expenses, okay? When your residual income exceeds your expenses, you've got freedom. If you had to stop working today, but your residual income exceeded your expenses, you'd be okay, right? You could take care of your bills, you could handle things that came up, whatever. So that's what financial freedom is. So how do we get this weird, crazy thing called residual income? Because most people in the world don't have it, right? So how do we get residual income? Well, and what is it? So first of all, it's income that's continuously generated after initial investment of time, money, and effort, right? So we would do the work once, and we start to get it over and over and over again. And I want you to think for a second, because if your residual income is greater than your expenses, all of a sudden you created something that majority of Americans don't have. But I want to talk about an example here real quick of the way most of us will think, okay? If I look at this first person right here, let's call her a doctor. She looks like a doctor. Looks like she's got a stethoscope there. Let's say that she earns about $250,000 a year in income. That's a pretty decent income, isn't it, right? She earns well. She's a top, 3%er, doing really well for herself. She's got combined assets of $450,000. Maybe that's a retirement account or something that she's put her money away in, okay? When I move down here, let's say I've got a contractor here, and let's say he's earning $86,000 a year, good income, okay? He's got $1 million worth of raw land, so he's a net worth millionaire, correct? Yeah, he's doing well for himself. That looks great. And over here we've got a teacher, let's just say she's a teacher, earning $40,000 a year, and she's got 10 rental properties. Now, if you were to look at this, just on the surface, I think a lot of people would look over here and be like, oh, that doctor, I want to be like that doctor. I'd love to be earning the 250 and the, man, great assets and all this other stuff. But let's take it a step further, obviously. I mean, and we kind of are alluding to it here already. This teacher, the 10 rental properties, if she were to have to stop working tomorrow, that $3,800 a month is going to replace her income. She can live, right? So if her income goes away, she's okay. Whereas if these two individuals, right, even though they've got lots of assets, if they couldn't work tomorrow, they would be able to sustain for, her, right? She could maybe make it for a couple years, maybe, if she could cash in those assets, that is. If they're accessible assets, if they're sellable assets, right? If they're liquid assets. But if not, same with this guy, even though he's $1 million, he's a millionaire, he's a net worth millionaire, that $1 million of raw land is not going to do him anything unless he can unload it. And chances are he's going to have to take a massive hit, and chances are he may not be able to sell it. And in the meantime, he can't put food on the table, right? So residual income is powerful. It creates freedom. So we're talking about the difference here between earned income, right, trading time for money, net worth, right, which is, it's got to be converted. You see a few different eggs here. We've got the IRA and 401k egg, the savings egg, the home equity egg, right? Those things they're good buckets, right? They're things that we can then utilize, but if they're not creating a cash flow for us, it's not maybe the best investment, right? So how do we convert those? Because we need to. So what we really want, again, out of these three is that residual income. I know I'm beating a dead horse, but I want you to think about it for a second. If you stopped working today, how long could you last? Right? If you had to get out of work, if you lost your job, if you got injured, if a son or a daughter or a loved one needed your help and you needed to provide care for them, how long could you last if you didn't go to work any longer? Okay? Now, let's imagine now for a second, imagine for me, if you would, that you want to create a $5,000 monthly residual income, okay? $5,000. How much money would you need to save and accumulate? Now, I'm going to make some assumptions here. It says right here, right? Assuming a 4% annual dividend, how much money would you need to save every month over a 20-year period to generate that? Any ideas? Yeah. Some of you have seen this presentation before. Okay? It's $1,800, but before that, you would need $1.5 million. Now, getting to what you just said here, you would need $1,798 per month over 20 years, invested at a 10.8 annual percentage rate, which, by the way, that's the S&P 500. That's their 30-year average is 10.8%. So if every single month you were able to save $1,798 and over 20 years get that 10.8%, by the way, I don't know very many people that actually get that. So they publish that as their 30-year average. I don't know anybody that gets it really. But anyway, let's just say you could. Then you'd be able to accumulate that $1.5 million. How realistic is that for any of us? Well, again, going back to this scenario, this journey that we were on, right? This system that we've kind of bought into, if we're spending 100% or 110% of our income, we've got to do something different. We've got to bridge the gap. So I want to talk about a company here, which is Strongbrook. This is our company. I want to talk about what we do here. We're a team of 200 plus licensed real estate professionals. We've got hundreds of years of combined experience. We have thousands of clients. These numbers are actually off. This says 2,000. It's actually 3,000 plus clients in every one of the 50 states. We've been doing a lot of real estate. As a matter of fact, we've now, I believe we've crossed the threshold or we're just about to the $500 million mark in what we've helped our clients to transact. Almost $500 million in real estate, okay? Do we know what we're doing? Of course we do. We've proven how to successfully invest in up and down markets. We've got a culture and commitment of personal development that helps people to go forward, not only in their minds, but of course in their pocketbooks. And one thing that I love here is in 2010, the SEC underwent an investigation. Anybody knows who the SEC is? Right? The Securities and Exchange Commission. They're the good guys. Wait. Well, they're the guys that want to shut companies down. They are in business to find fraudulent activity and shut it down. Well, we underwent an investigation in 2010. They went through all of our claims and practices and procedures and everything that we did. And the neat part about that is we didn't have to change a thing. We didn't get shut down. We didn't have to change a thing. None of us went to prison, not even for a day. Usually those guys get put away for a long time, right, if there's something wrong. So the neat part about this is we've got an approved business model. is if you think you can do more research than the SEC, I welcome you to try. But the point is we've got an amazing approved business model that works, and it's here to benefit you. So, how does facilitated real estate work? Well, first of all, you design your personalized game plan. Now, I want to talk about this game plan for just a minute because we've talked about it briefly in a number of different things, and I want you to imagine for a minute that, again, you've got a specific plan for you in place. I want you to think about when you go out to build a home. Now, whether you've built a home or not, I want to kind of take you through the process a little bit because it's very interesting that the way we build a home is usually completely different than the way we build our financial lives, right? So the way we build a home is first of all, we have to draw out plans. We have to have a plan, a game plan, a blueprint they call it. You go to a draftsman or an architect and you get that, right? And then from there, you need to find the plot of land. You purchase the plot of land. They develop it and do whatever they need to, bring in whatever they need. And then they start building, put the foundation down, right? Put the framing up, you put the roof on, you start to put the electrical and the HVAC systems and all the different systems of the home, you put them all together, you drywall everything, you seal it all up, you start to do all the finish work, right? You paint it and you put the trim around everything, and at the end of the day, you've got this beautiful home. But the reason why you've got this home and it's so beautiful is because you had a plan and you followed it. I'll tell you, I went to the Dominican Republic years ago. Actually, I went there again last year, but it was for work. This was for pleasure. And as we were there, we were driving towards our resort that we were going to be staying at, and I looked off in the distance and I saw this massive building being built. And it was crazy because there were these bamboo sticks holding up this roof thing that was coming and I'm thinking to myself, remember this place and don't stay there. Because I had no idea if that's going to fall down. I mean, it looked like they were just kind of haphazardly building stuff as they were going, and obviously their codes aren't the same as our codes here. And I'm just thinking to myself, oh my goodness, I would never want to build like that. I would never go to Home Depot, buy wood and nails, and just start hammering together because who knows if it's going to last, right? Well, we do that with our financial lives. We just kind of buy up hammer and nails with our financial lives and hammer and hope it's going to last for us, right? So what we're trying to help people understand is if you can get a game plan that's personalized to you, where you understand the steps, all of a sudden it makes achieving that goal so much more realistic, okay? So everyone will get a game plan. We educate you on the growth and income markets. We help you identify, access, and leverage assets. We find and present deals for you that fit into your game plan. We facilitate the financing. And then, of course, you're making the decisions. We're just facilitating the execution of it, right? We're your power team. You let us know if it's right for you, and we go out and we get it done. We're not having you be the experts, right? If you want something done right, don't do it yourself. Let us do that for you, okay? So specifically, we find the homes, we buy them, we fix them up, we help you get the proper financing on them, we help you lease them out, we manage it and we maintain it, and then we help you sell it when you're ready for exit strategy. We literally do every step of the process for you so that you're not having to be a landlord. And I'll tell you, most people come to me and say, especially people that have done real estate before, I've been a landlord, don't ever want to be a landlord again, right? I agree. I've been a landlord, I don't ever want to be a landlord again either. And our system actually takes the landlording out of you ever being a landlord again, right? You can still own properties, but not have to have the headaches, and that's what we do. And so for us, we'll earn about 5% your typical real estate fees that you would be paying someone else anyway. But instead, we get paid. So we own the companies that support that whole process. Make sense? So this is our approach to retirement, and I'll tell you, it's working really well. And the reason why it's working really well and continues to work well is because we've learned some things. We actually have a track record. I can go back on our last 1,000 deals or more, 1,500 deals, and I know exactly what it's going to look like. We've created kind of a widget out of real estate where it all looks the same, right? It's kind of just a stamp. It's this little assembly line. You stamp it down, and it's the exact same home over and over and over again. And because of that predictability, all of a sudden, these strict parameters and that predictability allows me to get the maximum growth or the maximum profit and have the minimized risk, right? So this is what we're talking about. So I want to go through some of this here. Average purchase price, you can see there, 137. Average square feet, 1,700. Average year built, 2002. Average equity ROI. ROI is return on investment, right? So your average equity return on investment is about 20+%. Average cash on cash return on investment is 13+%. Average price per square foot is $62. Rehab, $7,000. Average vacancy, that's huge. 42.4 days is your average vacancy. That's amazing. Like, you find me a place or anybody that can do that. And the reason for it is because, again, we're investing with strict parameters, right? We don't go out very niched. And that creates that safety margin for us, okay? So, and then average hours saved per deal is 341. Remember that number. I'm going to go into that a little bit later because that's huge as well. So here's one property, just an example of kind of what we do for people, okay? Best equity growth and cash flowing markets. Indianapolis is one of our cash flowing markets, okay? So if you look at this home in Indianapolis, purchase price of $89,900, total out of pocket, that's what TOP is, total out of pocket. If you're financing this home, it's $25,975. Your monthly rent on this is $950. Your PITI, which is principal, interest, taxes, and insurance, okay? PITI, that's your whole mortgage payment basically, is $465. Your monthly cash flow is $379, which means your 5-year return on investment is 65%. Divide that by 5, what's that annually? I don't know because I don't do math in my head. I think it's about 13%. Just like we said before, right? Cash on cash, 13. So that's huge. That's, again, amazing here with what we're talking about. So the reason, like I said before, what we're doing is we're specializing in short-term buy and hold, okay? Single-family homes below the median. Like I said before, very strict parameters, which helps to minimize the risk and maximize the profits. Now, did I once say that we can get rid of all the risk for you? No, of course not, because I'd be lying to you, right? Every investment, no matter what it is, whether it's real estate or stocks or mutual funds or anything, I don't care if it's with New York Life or whatever, there's risk associated with it. But what we can do is create a system. And what I love about systems is systems are there so that you can minimize risk because there's levels of predictability. Minimizing or mitigating as much risk as we possibly can helps us to just know what we're doing and have more profitability. Now, Warren Buffett. Know who Warren Buffett is? One of the richest men in the world. If you don't know who Warren Buffett is, and if you're online right now, just go ahead and Google him. He usually is in the number 1 to number 5 spot of richest people in the world. And he's the majority shareholder of Berkshire Hathaway that owns everything. Okay? Everything. Warren Buffett often talks about his investment strategies. And what he says is, if you ever have an opportunity, I read a book called The Snowball, which is all about his life. Fantastic book. And he says, before he invests in anything, he has to make sure it has a large margin of safety. Okay? What does that even mean, right? And I want you to think about this for a second because this is where we're getting back up into the philosophy here a little bit, the mindset. The average person that I go to, if I were to ask them, if I can give you a large return on your investment, what do you automatically think is going to come along with a large return? A large risk. Okay? So large return equals large risk for the majority of us, right? We are taught to think that. These are some of those sacred cows. I have a friend that wrote a book called Killing Sacred Cows. Okay, New York Times bestseller, great book as well. But that book is all about debunking these myths that we're raised with, right? That we're taught from people that didn't know any better. They just heard them from their parents and so on and so forth, right? So one of those sacred cows is this idea that in order to get a large return, we have to have large risk associated with it. Well, Warren Buffett thinks differently. He says, I make my greatest returns when I have a large margin of safety. And large margin of safety means nothing more than lower risk, right? Low risk means larger safety, correct? So he says, I make my highest returns when I have the largest margin of safety, the lowest risk. So how should we be thinking, right? If Warren Buffett, one of the richest men in the world, thinks differently, is it possible that we could just change a little bit of the way we think and maybe see some different results? I believe it is. But it's important to also have a system that believes the same thing. And this is what we do. Now, real estate does something that no other investment can do, which is real estate can grow dynamically. What I mean by that is $1 can work for you in one home and then at the same time be working for you in multiple other homes. Let me illustrate what I mean here. If I were to buy this home, it says TOP financed. Total out of pocket is $39,000. So if I was to take $39,000 and put it into this home, after a specific space of time, can I get access to that money again? Sure can. If I could do a cash out refinance, take some of that money out, could I potentially go out and buy another home with that exact same dollar? Of course I could. Am I still earning money on that dollar in this home? I sure am. So now I've got those dollars earning money for me here and now also earning money for me here. So my $1 is earning twice for me now, correct? Can you do that in stocks? Can you do that in gold? Can you do that in a 401k? Absolutely not, right? So this is something that real estate can do that no other investment can, which is why I love real estate so much, right? And then I can help take it out of those homes and put it into more homes, and now it starts to grow not only dynamically, but also exponentially, and do something that I can't do in other places. Plus, we have leverage. When you add leverage on top of that, right, borrowing other people's money to help grow my money, all of a sudden we can do, I can buy a $100,000 home for $20,000 outlay from me, but I'm getting the benefit of the $100,000 home. I can't buy $100,000 of stock for $20,000, right? That'd be cool. But I can't do that, can I, right? So I can do things in real estate that you can't do anywhere else. So we know it's amazing and it works if it's done right, if you have the proper system. Now, when you start with Strongbrook, you're assigned a project manager. They help you to leverage our team of experts to access the best properties, where we then facilitate the fund, fixed lease, and managing of that property for you, okay? We then get you into a comprehensive asset protection because, by the way, just because you can buy a home, if you don't properly protect it, can that hurt you? Can you lose it all? Of course you can. So you need to properly protect it. We need to get that into a comprehensive asset protection for you. And then as you're growing, buying, selling, expanding your portfolio, moving things around, we're going to just kind of do a little rinse and repeat, help you along the process over and over and over again. And your project manager is going to really take the lead on helping you with that. Now, the biggest thing that I love about the project manager is when, let's say you buy your first home and all of a sudden the home, the area is appreciating, or you've got X amount of cash flow coming in, and you're to a point where it may make sense to either sell that home and go get another one, or go get two more, or pull some money out and go get another one. Your project manager is on top of that for you. You don't have to worry about all that. They're going to call you up and say, hey, Mr. Doe, I'm so excited for you. It looks like you've got X amount of dollars ready. You could potentially buy another property. Are you ready for that? And you'll either say yes or no, right? And so your project manager is there to help you accomplish the game plan. The game plan, it says right up there up top, that you set out from the get-go, right? To help you get to where it is that you want to go, okay? That's their whole job. So it's really exciting. So here's a little look of what it could look like, starting with just 2 homes in your first year. So if you were to start with just 2 homes in your first year here with Strongbrook, over a 20-year period, this is what it could look like. You can see over 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, but over 20 years, we can help you turn that 2 homes into 13 paid-off free and clear homes, cash flowing you an annual cash flow of about $132,000 with a net worth of $1.8 million. Again, don't know many other programs or products or investments that can do what real estate can do. So this is important to understand, that the more time you have, the better. But let's say you don't have 20 years and you only have 5 years. Can you still do some amazing things? Definitely. We can help you accelerate that process, and there's a lot of ways that we do that, incorporating some of our creative strategies as well as some of our done-for-you strategies. It all really depends on what it is that you want to accomplish and achieve. And that game plan is crucial in figuring your specific plan out, okay? So here's what it looks like. How do you work with us? Well, there's a number of different options. Option number 1 here, you can start off with a 1-home transactional PSA, which is a professional service agreement. It's kind of like our Costco membership, right? To gain access to the team, you pay that retainer fee of sorts, right? So it's $5,499 for 1 transaction. Or you can choose to do the 4-home transaction for $8,000 or $7,999. That's called our Empowerment Professional Service Agreement. And for those individuals that say, hey, I'm just ready to go, and I know I've got the assets, the credit, the time, I'm ready, not even the time because there's not a whole lot of time associated, but I'm ready to go. Most of them would want to do our Elite PSA, which is $15,999, and that allows you to do an unlimited amount of properties with us. Now, there are some exciting things that I want to talk on and touch on here, but before I do, I want to help you understand some of the value here. We talked about that 341 hours, right? You may not be able to see this very well, but these little numbers right here, I will read these for you. It says $1,027 divided by 40 hours. So the Bureau of Labor Statistics, did I put that in here? Yeah, I did. So you see here the Bureau of Labor Statistics, they say that the national average right now, the average person earns about $1,027 per week, okay? That's the national average. I'm not saying that you do make that, you may make more, you may make less, but that's the average, right? So if that's the national average, then what that means here, let me go back. What that means here is that if you were just to do 1 home on your own, taking those 341 expert hours into account that we do on every single deal for you, it would cost you in time alone Just for one home, $8,750. So we're saving there in time alone. Not to mention, of course, that we're getting deals that you'll never have access to because, no offense to anybody, but we have the connections. We've been doing this for longer. And we know what we're doing very, very well. But for one home, you save, what was that, $3,000, a little more. For 4 homes, we're saving you, just in your time alone, $35,000, okay? And on 5+ transactions, this is calculating 5, it's $43,750. Of course, the more you do, the more we're saving you, right? So this is huge. I just wanted to point that out. Now, all right, so your time is more valuable. Now, I do want to talk about our other option. One of the things that we recognize is that a lot of people weren't ready to get started right now. We were speaking with people all across the nation, and we recognized that although our program was amazing, what about those individuals that right now needed to prepare, needed to do some things? Maybe they needed credit repair, maybe they needed to save a little bit more money, whatever the case was. How can we help them right now as well? And so we came up with this program, which is our MAP program, the Strongbrook MAP. It stands for My Action Plan. And this is really the education and preparation part of what we did. And so with this, you receive immediate access to our team. You have access to a 24/7, a business hours line, but you can call anytime, right, in those business hours. Every dollar that you spend here of the $499 and the $99 a month gets applied towards one of our transactional PSAs, which is also very, very exciting. So you get education, you get started, and we start preparing you in your process to be able to transact real estate. Rather than going off on your own, I will tell you, Chris Crone talks about it all the time. He says those first 14 months for me before I bought a property were the most crucial for me. Those first 14 months were during my preparation phase were some of the most important months of my investing career because it's what helped me get started. Well, that's what this is for, is to help individuals that need that boost, that need to work with a team to help you understand what it is that you need to do to get started. We're here to help you, okay? So I want to talk about a few things. I want to do a little bit of review. Number one, if you haven't already downloaded it, get the app. It's free. Start working on your mind, okay, right now. Number two, for everyone that's here today, whether you're online or here in person, you'll get access to your own free game plan, okay? Now what you're going to want to do is, I don't know if we have that link or not. Do you have that link from last week? Okay. We'll post a link on our YouTube. So that anyone that's watching this online will be able to have it. Anyone in the room, we can fill out a game plan request form, and we'll actually get you your free game plan. But that is free. In other words, get the news, learn about what it is that we can do for you before you actually work with us, right? It is a free game plan. Get the news before you choose. Receive your free assessment. A couple things that I'm really excited to talk about now. We've got some amazing promotions going on this month, and they are ending this month. We actually started this a little while ago, but this is going to be ending this month, okay, this promotion, which is where you can right now, get the Essentials PSA, so the $5,499 PSA, by just purchasing the MAP PSA. In other words, we will help you transact your first property, even if you're just on the MAP PSA. So you get that for free. And this isn't the next 100 investors, actually, it is just to the end of the month, okay? So that's a huge one right now. And I want to talk about another thing. Last month, we did a promotion that we've never done in our company's history before. And we lowered the price of our PSA by 25%. And we ended that and had kind of an uproar. But we're not going to do it again, even if there is an uproar, okay? Just telling you. But we did extend it through the month of December as well to say Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, all that kind of stuff. We wanted to extend that through this month. So there is a 25% discount on all these prices. So the $16,000 PSA is now 12, okay? The empowerment goes from 8 to 6. And the essentials, right now, you don't need to worry about it because till the end of the month, it's included in the MAP PSA. Does that make sense? Okay, question? Commission is still the same on that? No, those adjust as well, yeah. Okay, so very, very exciting. We've had a lot of people take advantage of it in November. Already a number of people taking advantage of it here in December. It is ending December 31st. So what do I recommend if it's something that you want to do? Well, I recommend a couple different things. First of all, let me go back for a second. I recommend you get your own free personalized game plan. Right now, just fill it out. There will be a link, hopefully also, that we'll post here for you to get your own game plan. If someone invited you here and you're watching this online, get their invite code, they could also send you a link. But if they haven't been able to send you a link to get your free customized game plan, we've posted one down there. Do we have a question?
So someone asked if there's any way to get lower down payments so we can get more properties. Do you want to address that?
Sure. So you're asking if you can get lower down payments. The question was, is there other options to get lower down payments so you can get more properties? And the answer is maybe. Let me talk about what I mean there. So we work within the guidelines that the government sets, and unfortunately we can't just make up our own rules when it comes to a lot of normal real estate, especially if you're getting loans. So first of all, you can only get a certain number of loans on your credit, right? It usually varies between 4 loans and 10 loans, depending on what day of the week it is, depending on what the guidelines are set to at that moment. But that does fluctuate. But in terms of amount of down payment, for a investment property, you're typically looking at 20% down on properties 1 through 4. When you get through properties 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, you're looking at maybe closer to 25, sometimes maybe even 30% down. Now, how do you lower your down payment? The best way to lower your down payment is to be flexible and available to move into a primary residence. So instead of having an investment property loan, you can get a primary residence loan. Now, you can only do that if you're actually living in the property. And you have to live in that property for 12 months. So there's rules associated with it. And we, here at Strongbrook, we stay above board on everything, okay? So, but we have helped a number of clients to do that. So if you want to get into a property and then move 12 months later, turn that property into an investment property, by the way, you got it for primary residence financing and it's completely legal. It's completely okay. But now you've turned it into an investment property, which means you're able to save money, right? The cost of that money is going to be a lot cheaper than it would have otherwise been had you bought it as an investment. Okay, make sense? Hopefully that answered that. Great question. So moving right along here, I do want to talk about something. So this is happening right now, okay? This is our Strongbrook Intensive. So for any of you right now that are viewing this online or here in the room that would like to participate in one of our intensives, the next one is coming up January 14th, 15th, and 16th. Okay, put that on your calendar right now, 14th, 15th, and 16th. And if you purchase those tickets either tonight or submit your game plan tonight as well, you'll be able to get access to a cheaper price. So honestly, these events are amazing. We put a $497 value on that, which is horribly undervalued. Those events probably are worth, one of my friends, Gary Norris, has been with us for a while. He's spent $40,000 on his real estate education. And he basically told us that what he learns from us in these events is worth every penny of what he spent his $40,000 on. And I'll tell you, if you buy the ticket tonight or submit your game plan tonight, I will actually cut that price down to $69 for you. So you can get a $69 ticket for an event that we're saying is $497, but honestly is worth thousands of dollars. So I highly recommend that. It's an amazing event. We talk about creative real estate, no money, no credit real estate, partnering, lease options, hot markets, best strategies, property management. We just finished day 1 today on the one that's going on right now. We've got day 2 and day 3 coming up here. And I'll tell you, it's been an amazing event. Chris Crone has been teaching. Kevin Clayson has been teaching. I've been teaching too. I know that may dissuade you a little bit, but it's been an amazing event. We talk about hot properties, economic patterns, designing a customized game plan, creating wealth mentality, the 21 ways the rich think different than average, and so much more. So if you want to learn about how to do real estate and you're not quite sure if it's right for you or how to do it, or you're not maybe ready to buy one of our PSAs yet, or whatever the case is, come to this 3-day event. The next one again is January 14th, 15th, and 16th. January 14th, 15th, and 16th. Go ahead and write that down. And let's get you part of this. We'd love to see you there. So get your free game plan. And what I want to do real quick is I want to take just a brief moment and talk about some creative things that we've been able to do to help people get into real estate faster. Okay? This is a very, very powerful program and one that honestly you can access for free as well. So I want to talk about this. What if your Strongbrook experience also gave you access to creative real estate / affiliate program for free? And I'll talk about why I call it that, okay? Because again, no matter where we went around the nation, 10% of people, maybe 15% of people could do something right now. The other 85, 90% couldn't. So we kept on thinking, what can we do to help them more? How can we accelerate their process even that much more? And so we created a system that really was there to help them, where they could start earning commissions or affiliate referral fees for just bringing people to us, right? And by doing so, they can start to earn some amazing commissions. You see some of them there. It's very, very simple. We've got the app. By the way, part of the app also is our real estate. We've got our real estate here on the app as well, so you can share that real estate course. It's a free course right on the app. They can watch it, get a free game plan. It's already linked directly to you, right? So you share the app, it's free. You use referral income to fund whatever you want, even real estate. Here are a few individuals. We've got Ryan Jayton here, Sharon Wally, the Roberts, the Norrises, who have they're all holding up these $35,000 checks. Now, maybe that's a little interesting and intriguing for you, right? $35,000 is pretty amazing. So you can earn great referral income, great overrides, but these $35,000 checks are huge, and I want to talk about them for just a second, okay? The more people that you introduce to us who actually transact real estate, the more transaction credits you accumulate. When you have accumulated up to 75,000, whoa. When you've accumulated as few as 75 home transaction credits, we will cut you a check for $35,000. By the way, if you have a check for $35,000, what can you do now? You can go buy a property. Right? We've been talking about it. Our average total out of pocket is somewhere in the range of from $30,000 to $45,000, right? So if it doesn't get you all the way there, it's going to get you most of the way there. Point is all of a sudden you can start doing real estate that you otherwise didn't have any access to do. And not because you had all that money to go forward, but because really what you're doing is you're bird dogging people for us, investors for us. And if I could even say it this way, it's kind of, you're indirectly partnering with these people. All right, as they transact more and more homes with us, you're indirectly partnering, and that's indirectly benefiting you as well. So you can earn your way towards those $35,000 checks and make a lot of money in the meantime as well. So again, one more time, just to put it all together, well, no matter where you are right now, no matter what your situation is, I want to recommend that you get a game plan. Whether you have absolutely no money and no credit right now, or a lot of money and a lot of credit, we've got options for you that can help assist you to get to where it is that you want to go. The game plan is the gateway for all of that. Get a free game plan. I say this all the time, and I mean it, and I say it kind of in jest, but you know, if this is a buffet, right? If you go home hungry, it's your fault, right? If you're not taking advantage of the information, one thing that I also know is most people don't want to go around life making blind decisions, right? We don't want to make a blind choice. We don't want to feel like we didn't know the information before we got into something. But the truth is we're all blind in certain areas, right? There's tons of stuff that we don't even know that we don't know. And because we don't have access to that information, we're going to go along life making choices to our best knowledge, but honestly, those are blind choices, most of them. So how do we unveil some of that information? Well, the biggest thing to do is to get your free customized game plan first. Stop making blind choices. Let the experts help you understand what it is that you could possibly do. And even if you don't move forward and work with us, this is going to be phenomenal information to help you move forward in life in a very positive way. So get your game plan. Talked about some of the commissions, just went over that. Again, get the app, share the app. It's unbelievable. Now, a couple of things I want to talk about. The next, I didn't update this slide. The next Strongbrook Live is, do you remember, Ryan, when that is? I think it's next Wednesday. It's next Wednesday. What day is that? It is next Wednesday. The 16th? December 16th. So the next Strongbrook Live is December 16th. Anybody that you might know that would love or need this information, invite them to come out. This is a free event always. We are always going to be streaming it live. Share the app with them, and they can watch it right from the app as well. But so December 16th is the next one. And this is something I also like to do. Every single Monday evening, we hold a global training call where we teach our affiliates how to share this message. A lot of companies, I think, may be a little leery about sharing this kind of information with the masses. But honestly, I would love for you to come and be a fly on the wall. If you don't know who we are, or you don't quite feel comfortable with us, or maybe you think we're just a bunch of sleazy salesmen, I don't know, right? But come and find out who we are. This is an open invitation always. It's Monday evenings at 7 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Here's the phone number, 712-432-0075. And then the code, 358-204-POUND. Please join us. I welcome you. I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to hear if you like it or whatever your experience was. But really, I think this is just an opportunity for those that may be skeptical or may just need some more information to be a fly on the wall and get more of that information. Our live events you can always get on the app. And then our next Strongbrook Intensive, the one is going on right now, today, the 10th through the 12th. The next one, and by the way, if you are gung-ho and you want to participate, you can pay the $69 and still get the last 2 days, and it's totally worth that value as well. But if you want to come to the next one, you also can do that. It's going to be January 14th, 15th, and 16th. So with that, what I'd really like to do is just open it up to see if we have any questions. I'm happy to answer any questions, both for people online or here in the room. And so, let's just go ahead and open up for any questions. Are there any? Do you want to put in the chat box? 'Cause I think there might be a little bit a delay. Just ask them if they have any questions there online as well. I have Gemini. I know that everyone was wondering. That was one of your questions, right? Just getting that one out of the way. June 18th is my birthday.
That's my brother.
Is that June 18th? It's a good day. I like it. So, no? Okay. Well, we'll wait for just a second. There's just a bit of a delay online. They may or may not have any questions, but.
On your financing with your lenders, you do.
Oh, let me give you the mic real quick.
With your financing, are they comparable with banks?
Oh, yeah.
Or credit
Yeah, so
unions?
we are a licensed, registered, real estate brokerage and mortgage brokerage. And so our rates are very, very comparable, oftentimes even better. The neat thing about our mortgage company is we've been in business for the last 8.5 years in the investment world, right? And so the vast majority, I'd probably say 90 to 95% of our loans have been investment loans. The neat part about that is, for those of you that know about about the financing world, there's a massive difference between getting a primary residence and getting an investment property. And we have excelled very, very highly in that investment world. So there are programs available to us that honestly aren't available to a lot of mortgage lenders, mortgage brokerages, or even banks won't use them or can't use them because they don't have the track record that we do. Because we now have an 8.5-year track record, banks love us and they love lending to our people, and they love giving us certain perks and ability that other people don't, because they understand that when someone gets involved with us, that it means that they're getting one of those cookie cutter homes. They know how it performs. They know that they're going to get their money as a bank. They know they're not going to default. All those kind of things are kind of come into play. So oftentimes we're able to do a whole lot more for people that they weren't able to do when they went to their local bank or, community branch or whatever, credit union. We oftentimes can do a lot better. And I want to talk about, actually, I want to add one more thing to that. We're trained as a people to also only think about the interest rate. And I'm not trying to call you out, but we're trained as people to think about the interest rate. The reality is we were getting 10% loans 8 years ago. And our system worked, and we were making money on 10% loans. So sometimes people will sacrifice, they'll sacrifice their ability to get another home, and they don't even know that they're doing it, right? But they'll sacrifice their ability to get home number 3, 4, 5 in order to get a 0.25% lower on an interest rate. And so part of our training, part of when our clients come on board with us, we are always going to try to get the very best rates for you. Is there a possibility that you could go out and get an interest rate somewhere else that's cheaper? Probably. But that also could mean that in your game plan, you don't get the next home. Right? That could completely stop your process. And so that's part of our education for our clients, is helping them understand that, we're not necessarily always going to be the cheapest, but we are always going to be the ones that are going to be viewing this on a holistic basis from a 10,000-foot view and saying, okay, if you get this home at the lower interest rate, we could probably get you that interest rate too, but it's going to mean that you can't get loan number 5, 6, or 7, right? Does that make sense? So just wanted to touch on that, but great question. Any other questions online? Or you got one? Go ahead.
So it's a bare minimum of 12 months in a primary residence before you can get financed for another primary?
Correct.
Okay.
Yep. Any other? Okay, great. Well, everyone, thank you so much. Last thing, just get your game plan. Click on the link and request that online, or for here in the room. We've passed those out. We'll pass those out and make sure you get those turned in. Okay, everyone, have a fantastic evening. I hope to see you next week with a whole bunch of your friends. Thank you.
Good job.
Thanks. We out.